Lisa, I'm 24 years old, and Jack is 26 years old. We met in college and have been married for 3 years. I had no idea how things would turn out. I think it all began with mistakes and careless acts on my part. I'm sorry if this is all over the place. It hurts and makes no sense to me. Jack, on the other hand, is shy, while I've always been outgoing. Jack likes to stay home and watch a movie or read a book, while I love having parties and being around other people. Even though it's not his thing, he's always been there for me when I go out with friends. But I go too far, and now I feel bad about everything I did. A little history. Jack has never been very tough. That word is so bad, but it's the only one that works. He does everything he can to make our relationship work, and always goes out of his way to make me happy. I guess that's why I thought less of him. It seemed like he would never leave because he loved me too much to leave. Jack would get up early to bring me my favorite coffee, change his plans to be with me when I was sad, and always put me first. He was friendly, interested, and eager to please. I began to take it for granted over time. I didn't know how hard he was working on our relationship or how my actions were making him feel. I started to move away. Even though we didn't have kids, Jack agreed with me that I wanted to be a stay-at-home wife to make me happy. He didn't hesitate, but I stopped working hard around the house because I thought Jack would take care of everything. He never said anything when he got home from a long day of work to a messy house and no dinner. He got right to work and cooked, cleaned, and did everything else. I began to think of him as weak and disliked how helpful he always was. Not someone who gave in to my every whim, but someone who was stronger and could push me. While Jack was at home, I spent more time with my friends and had fun. I made fun of him behind his back by telling jokes about him to my friends, who liked it. They told me I deserved someone better, someone who could keep up with me. Jack tried to hold on even harder the farther away I got. He would give me gifts out of the blue, have fancy meals and talk about our future, but I'm already gone. I didn't want someone to look up to me. I was looking for energy and passion. It became a loop in our relationship. I pushed Jack away and he tried to please me. I began chatting with other guys and liked the attention. Jack saw it, but he didn't say anything. He kept trying harder to get me back because he thought that love would make everything better. Our friends stopped liking Jack at the same time I did. It wasn't just the jokes I told about him. It was how I ignored him or rolled my eyes when he tried to add something to a chat when I was with other people. When I told our friends to treat Jack less seriously, they did. They would joke that he was being beaten or being too nice, but Jack, who always tried to keep the peace, would just laugh it off, never showing how hurt he was. I could see pain in his eyes, but he'd quickly cover it up with a smile and say he was glad I was happy. I had no idea how badly it was hurting him or how much it was lowering his self-worth. Jack's few remaining friends started to stay away from him because they didn't understand why he put up with me. People tell him he should have done better and should have stood up for himself, but Jack would always stand up for me. He told me that he loved me, no matter what, and that I was just going through a phase. The more he fought for me, the weaker he looked, and our friends and I stopped respecting him. I couldn't figure out how to break the loop. When I started hanging out with people who told me I could do better than Jack, I did. That I should meet someone who is more like me. Jack, on the other hand, pulled back even more. He put a lot of effort into his work and took on more tasks and longer hours. He shut down, became more shy, and stopped going to social events. He didn't stand out when we went out. I was the center of attention. I was too busy with my own things to notice how this was making him feel. Now that I think about it, I was really mean to Jack. He should have had more. I forgot how lucky I was to have such a kind and loving partner. Because of my own fears and need for approval, we grew apart, and I pushed away the only person who loved me no matter what. I disrespected Jack a lot of times, and I'll tell you a few because I need to get something off my chest. I'm sorry if this goes on for too long. It began a few months before the neighborhood party, around the time I started to drift away from Jack. I got back in touch with college friends who had just moved into the area. They seemed to have a fun, carefree life, which is what I thought I wanted. Tina, one of my friends, asked me to go out with her on a Friday night. The plan was for dinner only, but the night quickly turned into going from bar to bar and dancing. Jack, being the wonderful husband he is, told me to have fun and go out. I didn't even think twice about taking the extra money he gave me to cover any costs. That night I made fun of Jack in front of my friends for the first time. I was drunk when I told them that Jack took care of me and never whined that I was a stay-at-home wife, even though we didn't have any kids. The people around me laughed, which made me feel good, and I loved the attention. I felt bad about what I did the next morning when I woke up. Like always, Jack made me breakfast after a night out. He asked me how my night was, but I didn't give him a specific answer. There was worry in his eyes, but he didn't ask for more. He told me he loved me and was glad I had fun instead. I quickly swapped my guilt for anger, and I brushed him off. I went out with friends more often over the next few weeks. Even though Jack was clearly getting tired, he kept helping me. We talked less and less, and the strain between us rose. I could feel his sadness, but I tried to ignore it because I was sure he would never leave me. Tina and some friends came over one night to watch a movie. Jack made us dinner and then went to his room to give us some space. The subject of relationships came up after a few glasses of wine. Tina talked about her boyfriend and wished he was as loyal as Jack. People laughed and said more things about how nice Jack was to me, how I had him wrapped around my finger, and how easy to get along with. Again, drinking gave me the courage to join in. I made fun of Jack's habits, his oddities, and the fact that he would do anything for me. Even made a joke about how, if I told him to jump off a rock, he'd ask how high. When my friends laughed, I felt strong, even though I knew it was wrong. Jack must have heard everything, but he never said anything about it. He didn't act like anything had happened the next morning, but you could tell that his eyes were hurt. He kissed me on the cheek, told me he loved me, and then he went to work. I felt guilty for a moment, but I quickly pushed it away. It got too much a week before the neighborhood party. Jack and I were asked to a BBQ at the house of a neighbor. Everyone was happy because it was a warm, sunny day. Jack was a great husband as usual. He helped with the grill and made sure everyone had food and drinks. And being the kind person he always is. Sometime during the chat, we talked about our partnerships and how hard our partners work. It got embarrassing for me to talk about how great my husband Jack was and how he took care of all my needs. My friends laughed and made jokes about how beat up Jack was and how I was in charge of him. I saw Jack nearby, and he was listening to everything. I didn't feel happy, I felt bad about myself. But I felt guilty more than I wanted to impress my friends. I laughed along with them and made more jokes about Jack. Jack didn't say anything when we got home that night. He went to bed right away, leaving me in the living room by myself. I was angry and sorry as I sat there for a long time. I knew I upset him too much but didn't know how to fix it. Like always, I told myself that everything would be okay and Jack would forgive me. I had no idea that Jack's last straw was the BBQ. The party in the neighborhood marked the start of the end. It was just another get-together, something our neighborhood did all the time. We live in a close-knit neighborhood, and these parties gave us a chance to hang out, drink, and have fun. I did a terrible thing that night, though. The party was put together by our neighbors, and everyone was having a good time. Jack was at the grill as usual, and I was with my friends. After a few drinks, we started talking about our husbands, and Jack was the first thing that came up. All of my friends knew how much Jack loved me, and they thought it was funny. I'm lucky to have a husband who will do anything for me, someone told me. While I was drunk, I laughed and made jokes about how Jack never said no, and was always ready to do what I asked. I also said that Jack sometimes seemed to lack a backbone. As the jokes and laughing went on, my friends made fun of how whipped Jack was. I heard nothing at that point. When I turned around, I saw Jack standing there, his face blank and pale. He knew everything. Jack came up to the table where we were sitting, looked me in the eye, and said, "We need to talk." I was shocked, but I followed him. Everyone was still having fun at the party, but I could feel their eyes on us. That's when Jack said he was done. I thought it was a joke at first, but Jack wasn't laughing. He told me that he was sick of being treated badly by me and other people. He told me he was leaving and I wasn't going to be back at our house. He told me that my things would be on the porch, and then he left. I was dumbfounded. He left, leaving me speechless. All eyes were on me, and their faces were filled with sympathy. They might not have heard us, but it was clear something bad had happened from the way we looked, and how Jack walked away. I ran after him quickly, but Jack was already packing up my things when I got home. I cried, begged him to stop, and did everything else I knew would work. But he seemed to have turned off everything. He wouldn't even look at me, let alone pay attention to what I had to say. He was determined to keep packing, and in the end he was done. He told me to leave and threw my things out of the house. At first I said no. He told me he would call the cops even though I begged him not to. Since I knew he meant business, I had to go. As I left, I could feel that everyone in the neighborhood, even my so-called friends, was on me. They didn't come to help or comfort me. They stood far away and watched. With tears running down my face, I walked down the street holding what I could. I couldn't figure out what had happened because my mind was so busy. I had long thought Jack wasn't strong enough to stand up to me, but he did. I got to a nearby park and called my dad to come get me. I was still shocked. Thank goodness he came quickly. When he heard what had happened, he was sad, but he still took me home. I've been at my parents' house for a few days and have no idea where I am. Jack won't answer when I call him. I miss him so much, but I don't know what to do because he won't answer my calls. This place is a lot more dangerous than I thought it would be. I should have known better. I'm sorry I did that. I don't need everyone to keep telling me that. I came here to get help, not to be put down. Please stop. The hate is too much for me to handle, and I feel bad even sharing this. I didn't want advice, I wanted help. To answer some of your questions, no, I don't have a job at the moment. I said that right in the beginning of my post. I don't know why people have to ask. Also, I'm still seeing that person. I hope we can make things better. Also, this isn't a fake. Make up a fake story just to post it on Reddit. I have more important things to do. Getting a job and starting over with my life are things I know I need to do, but all I can think about is Jack. I miss him a lot. And it hurts to know that what I did made him leave. I wish I could undo everything, but I can't. Thank you to everyone who has given me good wisdom. Your words have helped me get through this dark time. Some of you are only here to criticize, though. Please know that I'm already dealing with the results of what I did. I don't need more bad things to happen. One day at a time, I'm trying to figure out how to make things right with Jack and show him I can change. I'm ready to do whatever it takes, even if it's hard. If anyone knows how to get through this, please let me know. Another update: I have no idea why I'm still writing here. So many bad people hang out on Reddit. But I have nowhere else to go, so this is it. First, I want to say how thankful I am for my parents. I think I'd be homeless right now without them. They've been there for me through everything, and I don't know what I'd do without their help. Second, I now know that all of my friends are fake, even Tina. Since what happened, they haven't called or texted me at all. I blocked all of them because they are bad people. They never really cared about me, that much is clear. We finally talked about my husband, and he wants to get a divorce. He'll miss me and feel bad about it. But I'm going to do what he wants. I won't take him back when he comes back either. That's where I am, then. Still trying to figure out what to do next. When everything seems so unclear, it's hard to think about what will happen. I've been looking for jobs, but so far nothing has come through. It makes me sad, but I'm trying to keep my hope up. I still can't believe how quickly everything went wrong. I was having a great time with my friends one minute, and then nothing. My life was a mess, and I was by myself. It's too much for me to handle, and I'm having a hard time. I'm determined to move forward no matter what. It's tough for me not to feel angry because I know I did something wrong. I'm ready to improve myself. I gave my husband and friends a lot, and now I have nothing left. Thank you to everyone who has helped. Thank you so much for being kind. Some people have been mean, and I hope you never have to deal with something like mine. From the outside, it's easy to judge. More so when your life falls apart. I'm taking things one day at a time for now. My main goals right now are to get a job, save money, and finally buy my own place. I'm set on making it to my goal, even though the road ahead is long. I only need the strength to keep going. I don't need anyone to feel sorry for me or judge me. Hello, Reddit. It's me again. I understand that was my last message, but I had to give you guys one more. I stopped coming here after months of mean comments. But this is the last report. The split is now official. They let me stay with them, and I got a job, even though I hate it. It doesn't pay much, and my dad helped me get it, but I have to do it for now. That being said, the breakup was easy. Before we got married, the house was always Jack's. I got some income because I was a stay-at-home wife, but it wasn't much. We didn't have kids, so we didn't have to worry about childcare. Jack is done with me, even though I tried to talk to him. It hurts that he seems happy without me. I'll never forgive myself for what I did. I no longer wish to spend time on Reddit. It's too dangerous, but I had to give you all one last report. Get a life, everyone who sent hate. Thank you and goodbye. Last change. I know I said that was the last news, but I learned something crazy. All of my single friends who used to make fun of my ex with me are now trying to hook up with him. Not long ago, I met someone from the neighborhood and they told me. My friend Tina didn't like her, so I didn't talk to her much when I was with Jack. But she told me all the news. Any of them? My ex doesn't seem interested in any of them. Which is good because those people are bad. Things work out funny. People who caused us to fight are now vying for his attention. It's not fun to take, but we learnt our lesson. That old friend was surprisingly nice, and they didn't judge me because of my past. That was nice that she offered to help me if I ever needed it. It's good to know that there are still good people in the world. I still have that awful job, but it's something. I've been putting money aside so that I can move out of my parents' house soon. It is hard, but I am dedicated. Jack and I no longer talk. I've tried to get in touch with him a few more times, but he's over it. Every time I see him happy without me, I remember how badly I messed up,